Yo, what is going on? Welcome to the show at If You Don't Know, Now You Know. My name is Mr. Hecker. Thank you to everyone out there joining us. This lovely guest I have on this morning. Jessica, how are you? Thank you for coming on. If you don't know, now you know.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, that's all right. So we're going to kick things off today because it is morning and it is Friday morning. I want to hear what you are grateful for this morning. 3 things that you're grateful for. What do you got for me today?
Oh my God. 3 things that I'm grateful for. Number 1, I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for my amazing clients that I have. And number 2, I'm grateful for living a life that I've always wanted to live. And number 3, I am grateful for, oh my gosh, tough question. I'm grateful for, oh my gosh, I should know.
No, that's all right.
I'm grateful for, I'm grateful for life.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
No, that's good. And that smile on your face says it all. So thank you very much. And, that's it. You got to start the morning with a bit of gratitude. Can you just give us a bit of a plug at, I like to give little plugs at the start. Where can we find you? Your Instagram, your Facebook, your website, etc.
Yeah. So where you can find me, I really only hang out on Instagram mainly. I'm on Facebook, but I don't utilize it as much as what I should. So Instagram is basically where I'm at, and it's just Jessica, Jessicaa, and then full stop Viera, Viera, and then 2 underscores. And other than that, I do have the Rising Woman Empowerment, so that's a women's mental health movement. So if you want to come and be a part of a women's community, then that's also where I have another Instagram page. So that's just the Rising Woman Empowerment.
And I will throw all those details in the description, and I'll put it on the page here as well, so you can go over and find her. So the fans out there can get a bit of an understanding of what you do, who you are, and what you're about. Can you just give us a bit of an intro on yourself, what you do for work,
Yeah, of course. So I feel like I'm multi-talented. So former nurse. So I was a nurse for 7 years. Left my nursing career. Went into the fitness space. I worked in supplements, then opened up gyms, was fitness manager, general manager, then became a personal trainer, had my own online health and fitness business, and then I basically pivoted, went completely in a new direction, and I started business mentoring. That's basically what I'm doing now is business mentoring, teaching coaches and small business owners how to build a purposeful brand on Instagram, and how to actually profit from it and build a powerful business online.
Bang, done. Thank you. So I'm going to jump straight into it. I want to know about the Rising Woman. How did this start? Yeah. Why are you passionate about it? And your why behind the reason behind starting this movement, the Rising Woman?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the why behind starting it, it's weird because I had, for a while before I had even innovated it, it was something that I wanted to do. I remember telling a few friends, I want to start a podcast. I want to do something for women. I want to do something for women. And the reason why I wanted to do something for women is because I always lacked community. I never really had any girlfriends. I've had a lot of friends because I had a very toxic upbringing and teenage life. So I never really had supportive friends. And prior to that, I used to compete. So I competed for 3 years, and I just found that when I came to the end of my bodybuilding career, I just found that the girls that I thought were my friends just weren't. And I found that I was more in competition with other women than more so empowering and supporting each other. And that directly affected my mental health. I just basically, I have a huge story, massive story. But how I came to innovate the Rising Woman was, a part of that not having a community and friends. But my father had actually had a massive heart attack and a stroke, and he went into a coma, and that was my biggest breaking point. And prior to that, I had been going through a lot personally, but that was my massive breaking point. And it was after that, and when I was at church, and I just realized that there needed to be a community. There needed to be something for women that needed to be supported, because I had been on my own journey for 2 years. I just felt that I had no support. And I was like, well, someone needs to make something for women. Being a part of the church and them helping heal through my own childhood trauma and past trauma, I that enabled like a massive healing phase for me over the last like two and a half years roughly. That was a massive journey for me, and just people asking me like, what's your story? And I never in my life have I ever like experienced anyone saying like, what's your story? Like, who are you? You know, where are you from? And like, what have you been through? But coming from like a genuine place of genuinely wanting to know without judging you or without shaming you or without criticizing you. And for a very long time of my life, I just felt like that I hid in shame, and I was afraid of like telling people like, you know, my upbringing and everything, because I felt like I was criticized. Yeah, it was that breaking point after my dad was ill really enabled me to like start the Rising Woman, because I felt like, you know, that women needed it. Women needed support. Women needed to be able to have a safe space where they can talk about that they had been through in their past and not be judged. And it's crazy because when I started it, so many women I like had been living in shame or living in fear for years and years and years. And, you know, it's like now they have this community where they can come on the podcast, or they can come to the events, and it's like we're talking about real shit.
Yeah, that's a majority of thing that's really missing in today's communities as well, is everyone's is self-shaming themselves, and they're not speaking up, they're not speaking out, and they're trying to keep, I call it like the imaginary rules, like the cloud rules that society has cast upon us. So things have to look a certain way, or you can't talk about that, you have to look this way to be like that. And that's a really big a downfall, I feel, in a lot of people's mental health as well. And I want to break down, like, talking about your past and how you got to where you are and how you started this movement. Let's talk about going through the fitness industry, the toxic past, and because that's the story that most people are most interested in, and those are most of the times that made you pivot and go into the situation that you're in now. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, so a little bit, I guess, about my personal story and how I even ended up in the fitness space, because I definitely was not a fitness chick when I was a kid. I was like, you know, Coke as water, lollies for recess and lunch, like the most unhealthiest child ever. But so a little bit about me. Like I grew up in a drug home. I grew up in poor education system, so I didn't have the best schooling. But don't really need it now, I've learned. But and then when I was a teenager, I fell in like a really toxic place. My parents divorced, and I just started hanging out with people that I was I guess accustomed to, or what I thought was normal, because my parents, you know, being around like, you know, drug dealers and all of that kind of scene, I went into my teenage life accepting that those type of people, because that's what I thought was normal, and I thought that it was okay. So, you know, I spiraled out of control throughout my teenage life. And then when I was 18, I literally fell into my nursing career, literally fell into it for money. And then, not long later, I think it was a year later, I fell into the fitness industry, and I ended up on a weight loss journey. Like I said, I was very, very unhealthy. And fell into the fitness industry, and then about, I think it was 2021 was when I started competing, and I came across I don't think she lives on the Gold Coast anymore, Melissa Lehman. She was a WBFF pro, so she was like one of the first in Australia. And that's where my whole like competing journey started. And I absolutely loved it. I think for the first time in my life, with nursing and with the competing and the fitness space, like I finally felt like I had purpose in life. I had something to live for. I was serving. I was, you know, had an amazing job, a job with career progression. And then I also had, you know, the bodybuilding scene, and, you know, where I was in control of that, where I could be like, you know, I got this relentless work ethic. I can get the body, I can do the dieting, I can do the training, and I'm like, you know, amazing. And like, I wanted everyone to know who I was, and I wanted to be like praised for it, and I wanted to be like a pro athlete and all the things. And that to me was like the first time in my life where I really felt like I had purpose.
Yeah, you're seeking the validation. Let's go to, you're in that scene, you're in the fitness industry, in the scene, and I know that it's very stiff competition, and it can be quite a toxic environment as far as I've heard, and like you're looking at women and there's a lot of judgment in there. Let's talk about that and
Yeah.
how that may have affected you in the time, because I feel like you now out of that industry looking back, you'd have a very different perspective on that and what that played on you in mental and physical, emotionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like at the start, I never compared myself to anyone. Like I didn't even really know about like, I didn't really have much body image problems or anything like that. I never compared myself to other women because, like I said, I didn't really have like girlfriends or like people to be in competition with. But after my first show, I loved it, and I continued on, and that's when I went into the WBFS, and I did great, and I absolutely loved it. But I just noticed that the more that you're in the industry, when you're doing Instagram and you're doing all the things, and you're trying to be like in the spotlight, that you are in competition with other women. And I just found that, over time, I made friends and I made, my comp girlfriends and whatnot. But I did find that over time, like, you are in competition with people. And unfortunately, I felt like that, although you're just in competition, like, on the stage, it was very bitchy and very, like, not even supportive outside of it. It's like it is for social media, babe, you look so great, babe, you're so amazing, like all of this show, but in reality, like they weren't really like your friends.
Yeah, because they're competition as well. Girls are in stiff competition as well. It's
yeah, and I get it. Like I do get it. It's a very you go into that sport, and it is a sport, and it's a really hard sport, and you go into it, and you do know that you're being judged on your appearance. Like the girls that have the most amazing genetics and they look incredible, like they are praised for like what they aesthetically look like, and the work ethic and all of the rest. But there's like this thing of like if you're in opens and you're like in the top 10, like you're there's this massive like ego that comes with it of like I am somebody and like you are nothing. And I remember even just talking to one girl and like just didn't want to have like a bar of me because like I wasn't anybody, and that's the industry. It's like if you're not in the top 10 or you're not in the top, like essentially like there's no support. Yeah. And I just found like after a while, it just became just more and more competitive, but also I think, probably in my own head as well. I also like can admit that I was competing for the right reasons, but I do realize now that I did step away from when I stepped away from it, that I was actually competing for the wrong reasons. Like I was seeking validation and praise from everybody else, especially on social media, because that's what you do. You have the sponsors, you do the shows, you post all your journey, and you do all the things. But I was seeking praise and validation from people, and like the problem with that is that like I didn't accept myself, like, and I didn't like love myself enough. And I also had a lot of like, you talk about daddy issues and whatnot. Like I had unresolved problems with my father, and that actually came out like when my dad was ill last year, when I realized that, all I needed validation from was like the person that was supposed to be my father. Like there was something that was missing in my life, and there was a void that I was trying to fill for 3 years, and I was trying to get it from so many other people that it actually tore me to pieces.
Definitely. Just looking back at that, as someone out there that may be in that industry right now or in that same similar spotlight, what's some advice you could give to someone there sitting in that space right now, doing what you were doing? Like looking back, what's some advice you could give to someone in the moment right now?
Gosh, I think it's just like, just don't be so hard on yourself. Like, and at the end of the day, like, it's just like at the end of the day, like, you don't need to be in competition with anyone else, and you need to learn how to love and accept yourself. And punishing your body with crazy extreme dieting and crazy training, and putting yourself in the spotlight to be judged is hard work. Like, and if you're not in the right mindset and your environment isn't right, and you have some issues that you may need to deal with, or maybe you haven't like realized yet, like you need to step away from that and assess like what's going on. Like, because the binge eating, the excessive training, the punishing, like the self-hate, the negative, like, things that you say to yourself. Like, there is something else that is going on. It's not because of the comps. It's something else. So I definitely think, like, if anyone's in a bad mindset, like, just reassess. And, like, it's okay if you don't compete. Like, if you've got to say, like, no, like, it's fine. Like, life goes on.
Yeah, definitely. I want to step into the relationship side of things, because I believe at some stage you had quite a toxic relationship. Must have been after that when you moved to Sydney, maybe, was it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Tell us about that story, because it's kind of a hot topic. Toxic
My temporary
relationships.
boyfriend.
Yeah, your temporary boyfriend.
Oh my Lord. Yeah, so I moved to Sydney like 3 years ago now. Moved to Sydney. I hadn't actually been, like, in a serious relationship for, like, I think it's 5 years now. So it's a long time. And yeah, I had come a long way, like, overcome the whole fitness thing and everything, and I was just trying to find myself in Sydney. I got an amazing job. I was in a really good place. I was opening up a gym, one of the UFC gyms here in Sydney. I was fitness manager, and, like, everything was great. Like, I was so busy, and I had finally, like, found my place after leaving nursing. And yeah, I met this guy, and completely, like, turned my world upside down. But at the time, like, I just went into a relationship for no real reason other than, like, I was like, my life is going good right now. Why not? Like, but I didn't do research. I didn't
look into it. You just fell into it.
I didn't.
You didn't know what you wanted, and you just got whatever came
your
way.
And it's crazy because, like, well, I know, but that's the thing. Like, I did know what I wanted. Like, the relationship before that was any. I knew what I think. I just went into it for just no good reason, just thinking that, oh, now must be the time. But that relationship definitely taught me, like, a huge lesson, and it did help me get a lot clearer on, you know, the type of people that I want in my life and the type of person. And it's amazing, you know, like, when you just go into a relationship for no good reason, or you're just dating for the sake of dating, or, like, you're just not really clear on yourself or what you want. Yeah, you can easily fall into the hands of the wrong person, that's for sure.
Yes, that can happen so easily. It's like when I always say, if you're going to go to the supermarket without a list, you're just going to get whatever comes at you, and that's what happens. You can come out with all the wrong things, and same for relationships. No. You don't know what you want, or you could just be easily, you could fall into the wrong hands of someone quite quickly.
Exactly.
What's some lessons from that? Yeah, for the women out there that are watching, may have a toxic relationship, may have been in the wrong space, or fallen into the hands of the wrong man. What's some advice?
I think it's just the biggest thing for me after that was just, like, just getting super clear, like, really, really clear. And, you know, I had done a lot of, like, inner work and a lot of work prior to, but what came after that was a lot deeper than, like, what I had done. Like, and, you know, I did think that I knew what I wanted, but I think for any girl that's kind of stuck in, like, a verbally abusive relationship or a very toxic relationship, and they're not bringing the best out of you, and they're not your best friend, and, you know, you can't laugh with them, and, like, you can't be yourself around them, then you really need to, like, assess where you're at, because that person, like, can literally, like, drain your soul. And, you know, I think about that 3 months in that relationship, like, that spun my whole world around. Like, I lost my job from that person. I lost my income for 5 to 6 weeks. I didn't even know how I was going to pay rent after that. Like, he turned my world upside down. He stole money from me. Like, and that was a massive learning curve. And I've never been in a relationship like that before. And I think afterwards, you know, you just have to get clear on, like, what it is you want. If you're actually, like, dating people that are really, really toxic, like, reality check, like, wake up to yourself. There are so many good people out there. Like, you don't need to be in a toxic relationship. You just need to get really clear on who you are and what you deserve in life, because it's not a problem with you if you're listening to this and, you know, you're in a stuck place right now. It may not be you that's the problem. It may be the other person.
Yeah, I had that in a relationship. I realized I was the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
Yeah, but okay, you can be the problem. I will admit I've been the problem in relationships too. I'm not going to say like I'm perfect, but
no, yeah, and it's okay to be aware. As long as you're aware of it as well. For me, it took me 3 goes. I had 3 goes, 3 relationships, and it was 3 women said the exact same thing, and I had to sit with myself, and I was like,
wow.
okay, they all can't be wrong. So it forced me to change, and it's okay to have those ones that don't work out as well, because you obviously learn from them. So you take the lesson, you move on, and you find, and then you get to know what you want, because when you know what you don't want, then it becomes very
Yeah.
clear of what your standards are, what you're willing to accept, and then you move into something else as well. It's really important.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's an interesting topic,
Totally.
the partners and relationships. The common question, or the common thing that I get to say, there are no more good men left out there. What's your take on that?
There are no what?
No, there are no good.
There's no more good men.
Yeah, and that's a common thing that women say, and I'm like, where are you looking? Where are you looking?
You know what? Yeah, and I'll have to like disagree. Like, of course, like yeah, there are definitely good men out there. I don't know where they are. I'm not sure. I don't really leave my house. It could be the postman, but but I've met some amazing people. Like there are, and I think it just comes down to like getting clear on who you are and what you want and your standards and your morals and all of that. And like I think the people that say that just date recklessly, like bang 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 bang, date 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 date. It's like, well, you haven't even given yourself breathing space. Like, do you even know what you want? Because this guy over here was completely different to this guy over here. Like, I think you need to give yourself breathing space in order to like find the right one, maybe.
Yeah, no, that's right. I just like hearing everyone's perspective on it, because it's a common question. Like I get asked sometimes, because we work in men's circles, and they're like, "Oh, you got any good men over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, heaps of them." Like, and they're like, "I can't find any." I'm like, "Where are you looking?" I'm like, "I'm pretty sure a lot of the men that you're looking for are probably not in the places that you're hanging out." That's probably the first thing that I always mention. But that's just a question I like to throw out there to see people's response.
Maybe you need to start like a dating channel or something.
Hey, maybe I could. Who knows? I got a dating app. I might start a new dating app. I want to step out of that. You've gone through all the bullshit, and you're here, you're now, and you take your strides into being this businesswoman that you are now. Let's dive into that. How did you get into that? What forced you into that, and why?
Yeah. Okay, so I think just once like going into the fitness industry, like I've done so many amazing things since leaving nursing, and I think the passion really came for business a few years ago. Actually, it was 2015 when I wanted to buy an F45. And no one would invest with me. And that's when they first came to Australia. And that was like the first instant, like I wanted to invest into it. I knew it was going to be the biggest thing in Australia, but I had no idea about business, like nothing. I was a nurse, so I didn't know. So that was like the first inkling. But then once I left nursing and did all these manager jobs and learned all this stuff, opened a gym, coaches, was managing gyms, that was really like where the passion was. I was like, you know what? I love this. This is so good. But I needed to break free from that. Like I was on a minimal wage. I took a $15,000 pay cut just to like work in the fitness industry. So that was huge. And I was like, just going like scratching, like not knocking my head against the wall, like trying to figure out like, what am I doing? And I had an online fitness business since 2015, but it was very messy. I wouldn't even call it a business. It was disgusting. Like, and it was very like sporadic with it. So I had that. And then it wasn't until last year, at the start of the year after my breakdown, this is when all of everything kind of happened for me. I realized like, that's it. I'm going to go and work for myself. I'm going to take my business seriously. I'm going to go all in on my online fitness business. I'm going to quit my salary. I'm going to go in PT, and I'm going to use that money to build this online fitness business. So that's what I did. I quit my job. I went and started PT. And then I actually invested into learning paid advertising. So I started my business in Facebook ads. I had it on Instagram as well. So I was doing organic, but then I went and learned Facebook ads. So I went and learned everything to do with Facebook ads, marketing and advertising, and I learned all of that. And that was a crazy, phenomenal journey. Like, my mentor was absolutely phenomenal. And from there, I just kept growing. From there, I ended up hiring a marketing person for my business. And it kind of all everything just kind of happens for a reason. I guess you don't really know why you're doing certain things. And it all just happened. Like, I absolutely fell in love with marketing, advertising, building businesses, and, just learning more about building a successful business. And it just kind of all happened all at once. The demand was there for people. People wanted to know how to build an online business.
Yeah, that's such a good industry to get into, especially now. That's industry is just, that's going to be getting big. That's growing every year. Online businesses obviously massive, and they're only getting bigger as well. And I love that industry. That's my game as well. I love businesses. I like seeing them build, and it's just getting everything. Marketing, I'm stepping into that kind of stuff at the moment. Facebook, Instagram. So kudos for you. Is that? Let's. I want to talk about, because you've got business and personal life. What's some struggles that you face, like mixing business and personal life? Because I know a lot of people out there, they get into this entrepreneurship, they want to build businesses, they want to go 100 miles an hour, and then they forget about the personal side of life, and they think that it doesn't matter, or they're pursuing money, or they're pursuing the business, and they forget about everything gets pushed to the side. Let's I want to dive into that a little bit. What's your advice around that?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because that is actually like a really tough one. Now, like, before COVID, I think like my biggest thing was, having that time. I go to church on a Sunday afternoon. So that was like my time where I go and I just like, that's my time for me. But balancing everything, like, I'm not even going to lie, I don't stop. And that's either going to work in my advantage one day or going to work against me. But I'm like the type of person that literally like is like all in. And truth be told, like, that's probably why I've had so much success in the last 18 months, is because I know that if I want to be where I want to be, I need to make sacrifices. So yes, downtime is probably important, and I probably should do it more. But I'm going to admit I don't. I do go to the gym, and I consider that downtime. And when COVID's over, like, I will go back to church, and that for me is what fills my cup up. That for me is what resets me for a new week. That for me, like, being out of, working on my business and being around other people, like that is what works for me. But yeah, other than that, it's literally a hustle. Something that I probably am going to have to work on.
No, that's all right. I just like it. And my take on that is I've experienced this many times, because I just put the foot on the gas and I can go, and I just go, and I love working long hours, and it's burnt me out many times. I've learned many lessons. I'm not stopping. Yeah. My take on that is you have to stop, and life and business goes in seasons, and without like planning these seasons, even for myself working in, like, starting this podcast, I know the next 3 months I'm going to have to put the foot on the gas, and I know, but that's the season, that's a startup season. And then I phase into the next season where, yes, I'm going to have to start taking some time off for myself, putting those spaces in there. And for me, I schedule time in where I'm like, that space, it's switch off time, turn off the phone, everything. I did it last night. I went to the movies. So I was like, done. I have to do this, because otherwise you can get into a space where you don't not love it, but you can burn out. And you don't want to be burning out, and because what happens, you end up hitting this high, and you're getting all the things done, and then you don't want to be hitting the low. It's okay to have a few down days, but for me, I feel like there's you got to have the sacrifice as well. You got to willing to be able to put in the work, the sacrifice. But if the machine's not looked after and well maintained, you can only show up so well. And I know if I go out and have those hours, or those 2 hours where I'm like, done, switch off, come back, I'm like, I'm gunning. I'm like, get me on my computer. I'm like, I want to go. Those are
absolutely. I do agree. I do agree. I like, if I'm completely honest, I did actually turn off I didn't go on social media at all on Sunday, and I just slept. So like I definitely know when I've reached my capacity. But for me, I think in my business, like I plan everything. So everything's like planned. So I kind of know like right now everything's about to be ramped up. So I've spent the last few weeks like kind of on like bringing it back down a little bit, you know. So I know like what's next. Yeah. So like you said, you know, you're going to have that peak, and then you're going to have that like that little bit of a come down, and making sure that you do rest during that time. I think that it just all comes down with planning your business properly, doesn't it?
Yeah, planning those seasons, Even like people are like, oh, you're not going to be able to keep this pace up, like doing what you're doing, trying to pump out all the content. I was like, I know, but there's a plan, there's a sacrifice for the reward, and then there's going to be seasons, and you got to be able to come in and out of those seasons and go for it. You know, I'm going to have to go down and take a little bit of not a break as to call it, but a flattened peak, and then after that I'm going to go again. That comes down to business planning and goals, setting out your structure, which is very important in business. What's some advice for someone out there? Online business is becoming so big at the moment. Everything's amping up. Everything's online. Someone that wanted to start an online business, suggestions as to where to start, what to do, etc.
Yeah, I think, gosh, what to do. So where to start? I think start by just making that commitment to yourself. Like if you're going to go online, like just go all in and just be, you know, figure out like what it is you want to do. Like what's your purpose? Who do you want to influence? What is your power of influence? What are your skills? Like what are your competencies? Like figure out like who you are first and like what you're good at. And whether that's, you know, starting a online fitness business, whether you want to be a business mentor, whether you want to, you know, be a hair and makeup artist that, you know, has an amazing Instagram, and, you know, you're selling courses, like whatever it is that you want to do, if you're going to go online, just like get super clear on like who you are, and then who your ideal client is, like who do you actually want to serve. And then, you know, show up on Instagram. Like I that's where I run my business, is all through Instagram. But, you know, just learn how to market your business, learn how to advertise your business. Like there is so much content out there. There's so much on YouTube about building businesses, brand awareness, marketing, advertising, and building a business. And, you know, just you have to wrap your head around like the business aspect. Like Instagram is just like the marketing side of things. It's literally like your shop front. That's all it is. It's the marketing. But then if you want to have a business, like then you're going to have to learn business. And there's plenty of information out there. Like YouTube is amazing. Or you can come and follow my page. Yeah. I put so much free stuff on there, like so much. But if you're going to go online, like do it. It's crazy. Like the online space offers so much opportunity. And I've seen just like how much opportunity it can really, really give someone. Like, you know, Instagram is a free platform. It's free. You don't pay for it. Like if you're wanting to start a business, like now is the best time. Like COVID, like people are on their phones so much more. Like it's like the watch time, I'm pretty sure like doubled during COVID. Like it's the best time, you know. And I think it's just like if you're having doubts and you're comparing yourself to maybe someone that might have 50,000 followers, don't. Vanity metrics like mean absolutely nothing. And at the end of the day, you're comparing someone to like their 7-year journey. So if you're going to start, just do it. I mean, just do your research.
Yeah, definitely dive into it. I want to discuss, because you had your previous business, you said it wasn't quite successful, as a bit of a mess, and transitioning out of that. For me, I always found like I had a construction business, and transitioning out of that, I was on the wrong ship, I realized, and there's a struggle and a battle where I had to let it go. I had a lot of guilt, and I was like, oh, okay, am I quitting? Am I letting that go? And for me, it was more of a no, I'm on the wrong ship. I made the mistakes there. This is the importance. And I got told by a lot of men in business that had been in there for a long time, they're like, very rarely do you ride in on the same horse and ride out. They're like, jump off that horse and jump on another one, because I know you probably made some mistakes, and keep going. Can you touch base on that as well, and like whether you had any struggles around that, like leaving the old business, moving into something else?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you felt is completely normal. It's so normal. Like it's scary. It's scary making a change. And it's crazy. Like my fitness business did get better. It was bad in 2015 and like going on from there. But when I actually really focused on it last year, it was phenomenal. Like I hit six figures in under a year. It went like really, really well. But I literally reached the start of this year and there was just this pull. I was not really enjoying, teaching fitness and doing macros and calories and everything. And I was just finding that more and more people were coming to me for business advice, and people in the fitness industry that have very successful businesses coming to me for advice or wanting to know who to be connected with or, and asking me advice. So I was like, I felt the pull, and I had a few friends tell me that are very high up in the fitness industry that were like, Jess, you're not fitness anymore. And it was a bit of a hard thing to hear because I was like, what do you mean? I've worked so hard to build this fitness business. What do you mean I'm not fitness anymore? Mm. So that at the start, I was like, no. And I had that limiting belief, and I was like, I can't business mentor like that. And it was scary. It was really scary. I was like, can I do it? Like, can I? I didn't know if I could. Comparing like myself to some of the mentors that I have had, I'm like, no way. But the more, like, I think when the seed is planted and it's there, it'll like blossom and everything will just happen.
It always sits on your mind, hey, that comment that you got, you're like, can I? Can I? You're
I
like,
know.
oh, well, maybe I can.
I know. I never, and you probably felt the same. Like you probably thought like, oh, you're doing a job that you love, you're good at it, right? You're good at it, and it you can just do it. But do you want to live that life just doing something that is just you're just doing it for money? You're just showing up every day.
Yeah, that's a battle I had to face as well. Like it's like I loved it, I was doing it, but I'm like, what does this look like in another 10 years? Like, what's this look like? I'm like, I think there's some other stuff I can do. Hey, and that's where you have to be like, okay, bite the bullet. I'm going to go and jump in the ocean and learn how to swim. That's what we always say. Everyone tries to learn how to swim before they get in the ocean. I'm like, jump in, you'll learn.
But I love that though. You have to I truly believe in listening to nudges, and I've made I'm a risk taker. Like I'll just do something, and like my sister, I live with her and she has heart attacks. She's like, what have you done? She's like, what have you done now? So that's just me. But if I feel like I'm not in alignment, then I will make that change, because I know the feeling of being in misalignment and being in a bad place, that I know that that's not where I want to be. And everything just really for me, it just all happened. I was supposed to start coaching for a business mentor over in the States. So he offered me a job to be a business mentor. And I was supposed to start with him. And then, we just ended up having a conversation, and he was just like, you're way too qualified and you can do this yourself. And I think that was hearing that from someone who is a millionaire say that to me. I was just like, can I do this? I can do this myself. I'm doing it. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm making the change, and I'm just going all in. People are telling me I can do it. I'm going to do it. And it was the best thing I did. It was honestly the best thing I did.
Kudos for you for taking the jump as well. I always say to people, I'm very spontaneous like that too. I'll jump in and just go for it, because I'm like, you got to start before you're ready. And I was like, I'll learn on the way. It doesn't matter. I'll go and I'll learn everything when I'm in the work. Everyone tries to get everything lined up, everything dotted up. I'm like, it looks all perfect, and now we'll go. I'm like, no. And by then, the people, your competition, whoever it may be, they've already started. They started 6 months before you, and they learned all those and then they learned all the mistakes. You spent 6 months prepping to get ready. They jumped in 6 months. They're way ahead of you. That's what makes real, I guess entrepreneurs, as you would say, or people that succeed, is they're ready to go. They're ready to make the mistakes, and they're not ready to sit there and go, okay. They go for it, and that's what it takes. I totally agree. I think that doing this, quitting a safety net of your salary and your income, and making those big leaps, it can be messy. And I think that you actually have to fail to succeed. If I told you how much I failed and how much money I've lost, you'd probably have a heart attack. But
like you have to fail. Like, and I think that, you know, you can't, it's not a perfect journey. I think building a business and doing something completely different, it's not perfect. Like, even, you know, for anyone listening, like if you watch me on Instagram or whatever, it may look perfect, but like, you know, I still share my losses as well. Like, it's not a perfect journey. It is actually really, really hard, but you have to just get comfortable with failing before like the breakthrough comes.
Yeah, everyone wants to, you know, focus on the highlight reel, but there's always the blooper reel, and people have got to realize everybody has a blooper reel, and there's always mistakes. The most successful people have made the most mistakes. That's what I always say. The most successful people always make the most mistakes, and that's how they got to where they are. Making mistakes is so important. I got a question about, what does 5 years look like for yourself? So you're sitting here now, and you've started a new journey. 5 years. Paint a picture for me.
5 years. Okay, so in 5 years' time, now I wouldn't have been able to answer this like 6 months ago. 5 years' time, my life looks automated.
Ooh, I like automation.
So automated. Like, I know I live a crazy, very, very busy life now, but I don't want that to be my life forever. I do want a better work-life balance. I would love to just I want my company to grow, and I want to have a team of people. And I want to work 25 hours a week, and then on the other 25, I would love to just study or do something, just keep learning in some way instead of like working. I would like to just keep learning. And what else? And I just want the Rising Woman to be like the #1 women's mental health movement in Australia, and the best event in Australia for women. So that's where I'm hoping for it to be, and then hopefully start a charity off the back end of that.
Good. That's a nice answer. Yeah. Kudos to you. And that's, you know, I always like to hear that, where people like, look, I'd like to still be being active, being working. A lot of people are like, I want to retire. I'm like, for what? Like, what are you going to do? And that's
nothing.
Yeah. I don't want to retire, because if I have to retire, I'm not doing the right thing. I'm not in the right industry. I'm not in the right job. I may semi-retire maybe, but I don't feel like I'll ever stop doing something, keeping active, you know, whether I'm learning, whatever it may be out in the community, helping people. Like, I don't want to stop. I say that now, but you know, there's days I'm like, okay, give me a break.
Well, in 5 years' time, like, how old am I going to be in 5 years' time? Early 30s. But what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, how boring.
Yeah. The next one is, I may cross-reference what you just said. Like, you're sitting there from now, let's look forward maybe, let's say 70 years. Oh, no, not 70 years. Let's say 60 years. You're sitting there, you're chilling out, in your rocking chair, whatever it may be, relaxing, having a cup of tea and a few scones or whatever it looks like. And you look back at your life and you're like, okay, I did that thing. I did that. Do you have any, what was that thing that you want to look back and say, I did that?
What is that thing? I think more than anything, like, it would all have to like stem back to like the Rising Woman, of creating that movement that I feel like is definitely needed around Australia. So I think it's just making an impact between women. It's not even about money or anything. Yeah, money's great, and money obviously provides will provide a good life, but it's more so about like what the Rising Woman can do. So I want to look back and say, you know what, I really made a change. I really helped those women when they needed that. Like, I provided that space for them, which enabled them to live a better life, or a purposeful life. Enabled them to do what they really wanted to do in life, and follow their inner power. So I think that would be like the biggest thing, is just leaving a genuine, authentic impact in the world.
Good answer. I like that. Helping out the world. Do you have like a self-love routine, like something that, like a routine or anything that you use to give to yourself? I know you've been very busy, and I know you go to church on Sunday, and I guess that's from.
You're testing me. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, mate, that's what I do. That's what I do. I ask the questions. Actually, the question is, you may not have it right now. Obviously, you're in this transition of where you're working really hard, you're building your business. If there was a self-love routine or some things that you would like to do to give to yourself in the future, like to help you improve your, and your mental stability for business and etc., what would that look like, idealistically?
What would that look? Self-love.
what do
Self-love. Well, what have I been?
like you could be getting your hair done. I got the things for me. Like these are some things that are really important to me. I obviously I've got a really strict morning routine where I do my breath works, my meditations, etc. And I don't ever miss that. And my cold showers, my ice bath therapy. But there's a few little things that I always go do. Watch a sunrise. I go to the movies by myself, which is a weird thing. People are like, why are you at the movies by yourself? I go switch off my phone, and because it's my mind is a very busy mind. For me, I switch off my phone, and I love movies. So for that hour and a half, 2 hours, my mind is completely fixed on that movie. Because when you're at home watching movies, you're always on your phone, etc., like that. And that break time for me is really important. So there's little things like that. A massage, I go get a massage. I have rules around how much hours I work. So if I'm working over 80 hours, 80, and then if I over 90 hours, I have set things that I have to go do, and I have to take time off in between those. So I can do the 80, I can do the 100 hours, that's fine. But if I do the 100 hours, I've got to go get the massage, or I've got to go to the movies, and I've got to go watch a sunrise. So those are things that have to be in place for me to work, because I get to a certain amount of hours, I'm like, okay, I've got to go. And then so I'll quickly go do the thing, and then I'll come back.
I love that. No, I love that. I love that. I think, for me, self-love, the biggest thing, honestly, was, going to church. I think that was the biggest thing. So it not being there during COVID has definitely affected me in one way or another, because that is like my downtime. That is like, I put my phone aside, I don't know if you're religious, but it is just a very personal, it's a very personal moment. A few hours for me. So that to me, and like singing and everything, like that to me is what definitely does help. If I'm having like a funky day and I feel like I need a little bit of self-love, like I generally put on church music, and I put on worship music, and that is what fills me up and what uplifts my spirit again. And that's something like that I will do even in the morning. Like I'll listen to it, especially like I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, so I put that music on, and that's like my time. But I think more than self-care, I think every day, like I love wearing makeup. Like I'm at home today, I work from home, but makeup to me is like, I love it. And I don't wear it for like looks, but I wear it because like it makes me feel like empowered, it makes me feel good, and it's like it just makes me feel fresh. So I think makeup would be like one of the biggest things. And then church. And that's it, really.
Yeah, that's right. Us guys, we don't get that option. I just splash a bit of water on my face, give a few slaps. I'm like, that's it. We got to go. That's all we got today. We're going to work with this.
It's crazy that you say ice baths. Because I have like a coach for my training programs, and his programs for me this year was meditation every night before bed, like yoga, and cold showers every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I didn't do the yoga.
Oh.
I did the cold showers like 3 times. Like he lives on the Gold Coast. Do you know how cold it is here in the morning? It's like 6 degrees.
Don't you give me those excuses.
It was like a 3-minute cold shower. I was like, I did it once. And then I had to start listening to like gangster music.
You know that doesn't help. I do a lot like the amping your body up doesn't help. It's more so like center yourself. Center yourself. Don't like try. I used to do it. I've got like my studio here, and I've got like my desk and my office out there, and I've got an ice bath there as well. And I always jump in. I've got a full like a deep freezer, and it's filled up with water, and I turn it on, and that's my ice bath, and I get in there all the time. But having the music on is calming music. But the breathwork, meditation, the yoga is so important. It's such those two hand in hand. Oh, that's a really powerful tool. So he's on the right path.
He is on the right path.
I have a cold shower every morning. I have a cold shower. I don't think I've missed one in like a year.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know how you do it. Look, it's very cold here in Sydney, okay? So that's my defense.
Okay, right. I'll accept that today because it is cold. And this happened, actually this morning I jumped in the cold shower, and I was just like, don't think, just do. Cold shower. You got to just jump in, hey. But
you do.
It's really good. I'll wrap it up with last couple questions because we're getting on to the hour point. What's you're sitting there, you got one wish. Mr. Hecker can give you one wish to change anything in this world. What would it be?
To change anything in this world? I think if I was to change one thing in the world, it would be to create, to be able to have like a service for kids to break free from housing commission areas and low income earning homes. So I think that investing, if I could change anything, it would be like investing into like the generation behind us, and for giving people opportunity that they necessarily weren't born into having.
Yeah, strong message, strong message. The last question is,
yeah,
what what's the thing that you like that annoys you at the moment? Like, if there's anything that pisses you off in this world, what is that thing? Because we all have triggers.
What pisses me off? Oh my gosh! Wow.
What is there a big list? Is this a big list?
What annoys me? What annoys me? Oh my gosh! I think a lot of things annoy. I think like the biggest thing I think that annoys me is that oh my gosh,
it's a hard one.
Wow, I could think of so many things. I'm like
no, it's all right. It does. It's okay. It doesn't have really? Doesn't have to look a certain way. We all have triggers. Heaps of them.
This could come out really bad.
No, it's all right. It doesn't have to come out in the right way. I'll edit it out, or maybe I won't.
No, you know what? Actually, no. Okay, so I think that people are too judging. That's what I think. That people are way too judging. I think people criticize people way too much. And I feel like that, I think if we could all just accept people more and stop being so I guess
judgmental.
No, that's judgmental, criticizing. Like, it would be such a better place. Like, I think that if we just stop being in competition with people, that life would just be so much better, especially on social media.
Yeah, definitely. That's a real big reason why I started this and named the podcast, like, if you don't know now, you know, to get a better understanding of the other person out there, because there's a lot of judgment casted out there in today's society, and people look at Instagram, Facebook, etc., and they throw a lot of judgment straight away. And I'm like, oh no, cool, it's better. Let's get to know someone before we judge someone. And that's it.
Absolutely. Everyone has a story.
They do, and everyone's story gets the opportunity to help someone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bang, well, that is it for today. It's got a lovely hour it was this morning. I appreciate your time, and thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story today.
No, thank you so much, Luke.
No worries. If you're out there on Instagram, YouTube, share us some love. If you can see that subscribe button down there below, hit that bad boy as well. Until next time, I'm Mr. Heckad. If you don't know, now you know. Thanks for the show. Bang. Let's go.